Oh, hello. Today's video is going to be the oft asked about tournament report from the Turning Point Tactics Gold Ticket event at the Newark Showground, which was at the start of September. So we're about a month late with the tournament report, but I did promise I would do one, so here it is. Blindsided by the leaks and all the rest of it, but here we go. So, to give you a brief overview of the event, it was a 2-day kill team event, 7 rounds, 4 rounds on day 1, 3 rounds on day 2. It was held at the Newark Showground back on the 7th and 8th of September. It was for the version of Kill Team that came out in 2021. I just feel like I have to say that now that we're on the cusp of a new edition, and I have actually had put out a video or two where I've referred to it as the current edition, and now I'm recording this. Just imagine we're travelling backwards in time, it's fine. It was hosted by Ryan Slater of Turning Point Tactics, and he was supported in his sort of running and judgment calls by Jason Zammit from Not Kill Team as well. So, 2 real pillars, I think, of the UK Kill Team scene, right? The cost was £45 once they sorted out the issue of the pricing being in dollars, right? And there were loads and loads of prizes to be run, including 2 golden tickets. So that was a golden ticket going to the best overall and a golden ticket going to the best general, right? So really cool. Talk about the venue and stuff. So the event was held at the Newark Showground, which is a big... It seems to be a mixture of a racetrack for horses and also something about aeroplanes, like there's runways as well. So, big place. I think it used to be an old RAF base, like back in the Second World War, from what I can gather. And there's an aeroplane museum either on site or next door to it. I didn't go to the aeroplane museum, but just a bit of background information there. The place we were actually based for our Kill Team tournament was called the Cedric Ford Pavilion. So the venue was great, right? There was a little bit of parking outside, including plenty of disabled parking spaces. And then there was ample parking, I'm given to understand, just like a little bit further away, on like the grassy areas. So loads of parking. There were toilets on the ground floor, clean toilets. And then as you went in, there was so much space, right? For the tables, you could fully walk around with your arms fully outstretched. Like one of the few gripes I've had about Sanctuary, where the Not Skill Team goes meet before, is there's not that much space. You're a little bit arse to elbow when you're moving around, especially a big guy like me. So that's always a little bit. But this was great, and also the toilets on the ground floor, really clean toilets, really well looked after. Like everything was a little tiny bit dated, I suppose, but like. You don't care, right? You're there to play a game of Kill Team, not to appreciate the architecture. So it was a really, really good venue. There was air conditioning or temperature control. It seemed very pleasant inside anyway, considering it was a barn full of sweaty nerds, essentially. There was a bar that you could purchase soft drinks and stuff from, but there were also massive urns. I mean, granted, it was only instant coffee or tea bags, but there was free tea and coffee just throughout the event. So... like, you could just subsist on black... Like, I can go quite far on black coffee. I think that's required to work in a school in the UK, but I just subsisted on black coffee for a lot of the time. That was great. There was food provided, so... the food was a little bit interesting. There was breakfast, which you could have, that was like breakfast rolls that were on offer. And then there was also lunch food, where there was like some stuff that you could have straight away, like sausage rolls and chips, I think. And then you could order like a burger and things like that. Now, truthfully, unfortunately, I can't do my usual food-focused review because I didn't eat that much of the food there, because I was staying in the Premier Inn in Newark, which was like 4 or 5 minutes away by car, and that had sort of the typical hotel breakfast at a beef eater. So it was like bacon and eggs and sausage and black pudding, and it was all you can eat, go back as many times as you want and that sort of thing. So I would fill up on breakfast each day, and then by lunchtime I'd have maybe a sausage roll, right? So I was pretty replete. Now, on the Saturday night, there was also pizza. Now, you had to like pre-order the pizza, and it was like pretty basic in terms of the choices of topping. It was like pepperoni, cheese and tomato. I think that might have been a ham and pineapple choice as well. I don't know. But I will say, actually, I think they had in the back, in the kitchen, which you couldn't see, I think they had a proper pizza oven because the pizza tasted really good. Like, it was actually really good pizza. Like, surprisingly really good. I thought it was going to be like, catering pizzas, but it wasn't. It was like hand-tossed, or it tasted it anyway, like pizza that had been cooked in a decent way. So, really good. You certainly could have eaten well, I think, off the food there. Little tiny bit on the expensive side, maybe, the bar and stuff like that. But, yeah, par for the course for events, I think. And certainly as well, if just to throw in a little review, the New York premiere in lovely, like really well-appointed rooms. Beef eater was lovely for breakfast. Yeah, no complaints. And it's next to a McDonald's as well, if you fancy the premiere in. So if you fancy a McDonald's breakfast beforehand, like there's one on the way to the venue really close by as well. So yeah, you're well catered for in terms of food and drink, stuff like that. Right, let's get on with the actual kill team. So round one was against Miguel Valina, I want to say. That's how I pronounce it. Now, Miguel was playing Hearthkin Jaegers, and I will say the main thing I remember about this game was Miguel's Hearthkin Jaegers are like amazing. They all have this retro rogue trader like vibe to them, so they are actually the modern Hernkin models, but aesthetically they've kind of been converted with little bits of third-party pieces or bits of plastic card, for like the big shoulder pads and the paint scheme, so they look like old school squats. I really, really enjoyed them. I should have gotten a decent picture of them, but they were really cool. They were really good. And we played a really fun game. It was a really fun, like, laid-back sportsmanship, like, game. Like, we both kind of really helped each other. Like, yeah, I realised I lost, so you might think that he like helped me, but like there was definitely a point where I was like, well, I charged a guy, and then I had fights twice, and he was like, oh, I don't know if I should re-roll this because you've got fights twice, and I'm like, well, if you re-roll it, I have to use my second fight action, and I can't play this tactical ploy, and then dash charge this other guy, and then also fight him and potentially kill two, and explanations of stuff like that, because I don't want to win a game because the guy I'm playing against has forgotten I have a certain ploy. Like, that's not kill team, at least not to me. And so, like, and obviously there were times when he helped me in the same way, so and said, I can do this, and I can do that. So it was a really, really cool game. He's a really cool guy. He lives in the UK. He does have a Spanish name, but the only reason I mention it is because quite often we do get people coming over from Spain to play Kill Team because they love Kill Team in Spain, but he just happens to be a Spanish fella, lives in the UK. But yeah, it was a really, really good game. It was 15-21, so I did lose, but it felt close. He'd be the first person to agree. I think I did have some really bad throws of dice in that game. I know it's a cliche, but it's things like, and it's something I find happens quite a lot when I'm playing Nemesis Glorious. I just seem to fail armor saves more than I think I reasonably should. But yeah, it was a great game. Into the Dark, still not my favourite like mode, as it were. I think just because of my lack of practice on it, but it was a decent game. I think I did decently well, and yeah, I enjoyed playing against Miguel. So my second round was a bit special. This was against Daniel Carter. Daniel was playing Far Stalker Kimband, and this game was actually streamed. So I'm going to put the link to the stream. Mine's the second game of the day on the stream. Put the link to the stream in the description if you want to watch that back, if you haven't already. Because I know that, like, I think it was Matthew Poole did link it in the at least in the members only part of the Discord while it was happening. Now, obviously, I wasn't put on the stream because I'm a really highly skilled player. It wasn't any kind of exhibition player or anything like that. I mean, for crying out loud, we just look at this map, right? The yellow diagonal deployment zones look really obvious on it, right? And so we actually deployed. Initially, we deployed wrong on the diagonals because this is a map that's made by another company somewhere else. I think it might be an American one, and like it does have like all the deployment zones on it, but the corner ones are hyper visible. So there was no like sheet of paper, so we just sat down and started deploying in the wrong place. So we spent ages just messing around before we got the game going. But I think I was chosen to go on the thing because obviously I have the YouTube channel, and so they know that I was going to talk and make it engaging for the viewers. Hopefully I did a good job of doing that. I still feel bad about this game. I utterly smashed Dan. I maxed, like, I scored 24 to his 6. Now, partially I think because it was being streamed, because I'm a teacher for a living, and because I have a YouTube channel, I was kind of energized and powered up by being on the stream. I think that kind of gave me an extra bit of bounce and a little bit of made me really sharp and want me to do really well. And I think maybe Dan was a bit shaken by being on a stream and playing in front of like 10, 15 people, I guess, were watching at the time. Like, I think he was a bit shaken up by it, so maybe he wasn't playing his best. Also, it should be said that Dan was playing Kroot, and Kroot sucked. That was a basically understood truism of this edition of the game, was that Kroot were the worst bespoke team, right? So, yeah, but I felt bad about winning. Like, obviously it's nice to win, but 24-6 is a bit like, yeah, I don't know. But you don't want to throw a game. You want to give people the best. It will be impolite as well to like start playing worse when you realise that you've won, right? So, but yeah, that was my round 2, and you can go and watch it in the link down below. Round 3. So round 3 was against a chap called Walter Rogers. Now, Walter was playing novitiates. I should say Walter was a child. Walter was like, I think he 12, 13. So it's funny because you rock up to the game and you're like, oh, I'm playing a kid. Okay, cool. And teacher me comes out a little bit and he's like, okay, we're going to do it. Now, he was probably knew the game better than I did. So I was quickly kind of snapped back into the more normal version of myself, right? Playing, as hard as I ever normally would, right? So, you shouldn't judge people by their age, I guess. And I probably should know that by now, but like, it's just the professional version of me came out for a minute. Walter was a great opponent, actually. He even he's really good at the game, but he would occasionally tell me things that he had no inner monologue. So it would be like, oh, I could go over here, but of course if I go over there, you can charge from here, and then and I'm just sitting there trying to keep a poker face going, yes, because I totally thought, like, he was worrying about things that I could do that I hadn't actually occurred to me that I could do them. So he actually inadvertently, I think, helped me a little bit. It was probably to my benefit that Novies are the first team that I ever really played seriously. I think if you go and watch the homepage of this channel, it still says, oh, this is my journey to get good with novitiates or something. Obviously that boat has sailed, but yeah, a combination of those things. I did lose, but I lost 17 to his 19, and a lot of people who I think it's in Bristol where Walter's based. I talked to Jin and a few others from the Bristol scene, and they were like, no, you should be really proud to have only lost by 2. Like, Walter's really, really good. He destroys people usually. So, I don't know, they're just trying to make me feel better about myself. But, yeah, it was a great game. I enjoyed it. It was a great game. I had a lot of fun, and it's great to see, we are playing with toys after all. It's great to see kids actually enjoying the hobby. That I don't want it to just be people my age and older. I want there to be new blood coming into the hobby. I think that's a really big and important thing. So yeah, it was a fantastic game. Walter was a great opponent. 10 out of 10. Would play again. Absolutely. Right, round 4 versus Peter Worsley. Now Peter was playing scouts. This isn't me complaining about Peter. Peter totally warned me exactly what his scouts could do, and I was like, yeah, that's fine, good. So, if you can see you can see my cursor. So Peter was in the red deployment zone here, I think, and I was in the blue deployment zone here, and Peter's sniper was here on a conceal, right? And I had an operative, a melter gunner that I'd put here. Obviously in Midnight Clan, so I was next to this, but I wasn't back here where I should have been. I was like up here because I wanted those extra 4 inches of movement. And of course, the Scout Sniper can just spend an AP to turn off Obscured, shoot you in the face, and then he rolled hot and he one-shot the Marine, which snipers are a very swingy weapon, right? If you roll a lot of crits, they're ridiculous, and if you don't roll any crits, they're kind of a tickle. But no, he just like headshot the Marine, one-shot off. Like part of me's like, I think playing Nemesis Claw has kind of taught me some bad habits because I just deploy like here and here and here and here. I don't bother deploying behind stuff anymore because it's like, oh, I've got this in Midnight Clan, so I'll just deploy next to the stuff, and it's like, oh, hang on. And the same with the Auspex, right? So we had up here, Peter had a heavy bolter and the Auspex guy, and they just like held this flank, and I kept. They must have killed like 3 of my team trying to get up here onto these objectives and do various bits and pieces. Just because the Auspex guy could be like, yeah, him, yeah, heavy bolter, yeah, him, yeah, heavy bolter, and it's. Now, in a way, Auspex has been... Well, Auspex has been changed, so Auspex is now generally, at least for the Scouts, maybe it will generalise out to all the teams, it's now an 8-inch bubble of turning off obscurity, rather than an infinite range, that guy is not obscured. So it's better in that it can affect more people, but it's slightly worse, at least against Nemesis Claw, because it means it's not really going to affect you in that crucial first turn. Because they're not going to be. You're not going to be within 8 generally of the enemy. So, yeah, Peter 120, 115. Because I just didn't play around the counters he had to my team. I just tried to play the game how I wanted to play it, and he went, cool, but I've got 2 hard counters to your Midnight Clan, and you're just not adapting your tactics. So yeah, Peter deserved the win, absolutely. So that was the end of day 1. So at the end of day 1, there was pre-order pizza to be eaten, and as I've already said, it was delicious. Now, the venue stayed open late for people to hang out and socialise, and it was a great thing for the community, I think, to hang out and chat. A lot of the folks that I kind of know... I didn't travel down with anybody, right? Now, I knew my friend Lawrence was there, and we hung out for a bit, and then Lawrence was like, oh, I'm lactose intolerant, so I can't eat pizza. I'm going to go back to the hotel and have some dinner. And I was like, oh, I could come out with you and we can have some beers. He's like, no, you stay here and hang out with people. So I stayed there and hang out with people, but the thing is, a lot of the people that I know pretty well in the kill team scene are the Nottingham locals, who all pretty much left pretty quick. I guess because they could get home to kiss their kids goodnight and speak to their partners for like an hour or so before bed. I guess that's what they chose to do, and absolutely fair enough. So it was the slightly like, I did chat to people. I chat to people in the Bristol Kill Team gang and other random people in Kill Team, but it's always hard when you're just a guy and everyone else has kind of travelled in a group, and also. Most people were drinking. I was so tired, and I knew I had like a 5-minute drive to do after the thing. I didn't even want to have one. So yeah, it was all right. I think in future, I don't know. I'm definitely going again anyway. It would be really nice if I could go again with someone that I was travelling with, and we could go back to maybe the hotel and then have a beer or two where. In the place where you're sleeping. Like, don't get me wrong, it's nice of Ryan to organise for the place to be open afterwards for a social. I'm in 2 minds, because on the one hand, I think it's really cool that we could do that, but then the thing of it is not everybody stayed anyway, and then it was just like, if it's obviously better to have a drink once you're at the place where you're already going to go to bed, right? So I'm ambivalent as to how I think about that. There's a little after party there. It was cool, and I met some people that I wouldn't have otherwise talked to. But yeah, I just found that basically the thing of it is, the first day, the 4 games, it was very, very full on. If you're used to Warhammer World, where you get quite long breaks. There was a lunch break, don't get me wrong, but there wasn't that much of a break between the other games. It was very pacey, and I was quite tired by the end of it, and so it was a weird one. It was like, felt semi-socially obligated to hang around. Yeah. But no, like, I'm not really complaining because, like, fair play for Ryan putting it on. But it's just it is what it is. I was really tired, so but I made my excuses eventually and left. It was fine. Right, and then on to day 2. So round 5. So round 5, I was against Matt Libon. Matt was playing. I've written Karkin. I mean Kazakin. Can't spell. And it was short table edges on Chalnath. Now, this was a fun game, and I was pleased at how close. It was another close loss, right? I was pleased at how close I was able to make the game. I did feel like Melee Marines was against Kazakin on short table edges was always going to be a tall order. And I considered varying my pick and taking a plasma instead of a melter or a heavy bolter even or something, or a missile launcher. But I figure, like, I was already quite tired after day 1, and I figured to stick to what you know. Maybe I'd have done better with the plasma gun, right? But, yeah, at the end of the day, I scored 16 to his 17. I think that in the game, he managed to get his melter mine down about here, where I'm waving the cursor. And this avenue, this road here, is pretty decisive because there's 3 objectives that all, like, appear in this avenue. And I was kind of trying to fight here and here, and he was holding on to this one. Just stopped me really advancing over there with that mine that will kill a marine that the Kazakin have. I managed to push up on this flank, and I basically owned this and managed to kill most of his defenders here, and he pushed down here and had these, and we had quite the stalemate in the middle. It was a really, really fun game. I really, really enjoyed it, and again, it was close, 16 to 17. Yeah, really good game, enjoyed it. Like, a lot of really enjoyable close losses, actually, which is slightly weird, but there you go. Good game. And then round 6 was against Christopher Hanley. Now, Chris was playing Bloodied. Chris had a fantastically well-painted and converted Bloodied force that really was a joy to behold. I believe he was the guy who won Best Painted, and again, like a mug, I didn't get any pictures. Whoops. And this is even with Loz saying, like, take pictures, take pictures, take pictures. I just didn't. I just forgot. I got so caught up every time in, like, getting all the things out and starting the game and being nice and prompt, and I don't feel like at a tournament somebody wants to wait while I take pictures to produce content. I know people are going to say, oh, you can always take a quick picture, it's just a quick thing, but it's like, well, I don't know, it's the vibe, I guess. So this map, right, I feel like this map is a really hard ask as a Space Marine team going into a team like Bloodied, because usually on Gallowdock there are 3 lanes, right? This map has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lanes. So yeah, I just ended up going, right, well, I'm not going to try and contest. I think it was this lane. I just went, nope. Right, I'm not splitting my guys into individual squads, right? So I'll try to, like, hold this with one and then send 2 into here, and it's just a mess. It's just a mess. So I was pretty pleased to only lose 15 to 18, right? So I lost by 3. It was a good fun game. It was a great game again. Another loss. Another explanation why I lost, and another close loss, which has just been my theme, right? So far, certainly, the one win that I've had so far was the least satisfying game that I had, and it's the one that I won the most decisively. A weird one. Round 7, the last round, versus Owen. Owen was playing Brood Brothers Into the Dark again. So again, similar to the previous game in that it was Hordes versus my elites on the Gallowdark, but this time the layout was much more favourable for me because you've got the traditional 3 lanes, right? So you can commit sort of 2 Marines per lane, and they can handle themselves pretty well. Owen struggled to bring his Patriarch to bear. You know, I managed to kind of get his Patriarch, spent his whole time bothering around on this flank, and I sort of managed to just evade him having anything really good to do with the Patriarch, which was great. Yeah, I won this one. I won 21 to 17. It was another really good. Excuse me, gosh, it was another really good, really close game. You know, but yeah, really enjoyed it. So I would say of all my games, all but one, 6 out of 7 games were really fun, really close games. One where I did really well and really stomped a guy, which I still feel bad about that, actually. So here's the final placings. You can see me. So there were 72 players, but if you look, Jonathan Solly and Joshua Burrows each have only one score. I think that they were basically like spare players, I think. So I think there was basically 70 real players, if that makes sense. I came 60th out of 70. It's not great, but I did get a win on each day, which was basically the target that I'd set for myself. So I'm actually quite happy with the way I performed at that event. I thought it was fine. Really pleased to see Matt Goddington came in third. He actually got a golden ticket. He actually, in theory, got 2 golden tickets because it was funny. He was top, I think, overall, so in terms of games and hobby and sportsmanship, and so won a golden ticket that way. And then he was in third place, so but Tom already had a golden ticket, and Serkan already had a golden ticket, and then Matt already had a golden ticket, and then, because he just won one, because they announced the best overall first, and then Jonathan already had a golden ticket, and Chris already has a golden ticket, so actually, Azir, who come up from Spain, came away with the second golden ticket, which I thought was kind of funny. Just obviously a lot of the people who've been haunting the top tables at a lot of events, all making it into the top 6 there, which was pretty cool. But yeah, there were loads of prizes. Ryan did this really cool thing where he got all the people who said this was their first tournament and they were competing against each other for a prize within the tournament. All the people who were under 18 were competing for a separate prize within the tournament. I don't think the only thing that I thought was weird is there was no individual best sportsmanship award. Obviously, it was rolled into the best overall, but there was no best sports award, which is one they usually have at GW, which we didn't have, but we had loads of other things, right? It was fantastic to see. I mentioned him previously, my friend Lawrence Eagles. We used to be really good friends years ago. We used to play a lot of World of Warcraft together, go to anime conventions together, and then we both kind of grew up and stopped doing those things, and we fell out of each other's like social orbits for a long time. And then I happened to be, I think it was a couple of Kill Team events ago, I was just walking through Bugman's, and Loz is just sitting there at one of the tables in Bugman's having a beer and some food. And I'm like, and he's like, because everybody, one of the things with looking the way that I look is that everybody always recognises me from a mile away, because I'm this massive guy who walks funny and everything else. So just this voice that goes like, Phil, and I spin around and I'm like, oh, is that Loz? Like, yeah. Like, oh. And then I was sort of talking about Kill Team, and I said, oh, I should come to a Kill Team tournament. I should just come to, and I've got a YouTube channel, and then I put on my video where I was talking about the, where I tried to encourage everybody to come, and he's like, yeah, okay, I'll come along. And he did, and he got a win and a draw, like, I'm really pleased for him. He also, so there was a raffle to raise money for the, without wanting to get too far into it, golden tickets from Games Workshop are weird. If you win a golden ticket from a Games Workshop event, like at Warhammer World, you get your hotel paid for and your flight, I think. And so Ryan was trying to secure some funding for those things, and from the ticket sales managed to get some money together for the hotel for the 2 golden ticket winners. And then to try and raise some money towards the flights, they raffled a Kill Team, which had been donated and fully painted by Jonathan Solly. So I've talked about John's stuff before. He's probably the best painter in this sort of Kill Team gaming scene, right? Like, I've seen stuff better than his, but only in actual like painting competitions where the painting is the point. And my friend Lars actually won those navy breaches, which is ridiculously cool. Obviously, he's never going to play with them. He's scared to play with them. I'd be scared to play with them, right? But it's one of those things. But Loz asked me if I could select a new Kill Team for him for the paint, where you told me what to paint and I tell you what to paint challenge. And I said I would at the end of this video. So Loz, I want you to do Intercession Deathwatch, because now that we know that Angels of Death is coming, and it is a fusion between the Deathwatch not the Deathwatch, a fusion between the old Intercession team and the old Strikeforce Justinian team. If you go on and paint an Intercession team with the grenade launcher and the Grenadier and a leader, and do it in your Deathwatch colours, and then take that alongside your Strikeforce Justinian that you already have, you'll have the Angels of Death team you need to field in the new edition of Kill Team, right? Because you'll be able to mix and match those things together. I think that's really cool. So yeah, 6 or more Deathwatch Intercessors, please. Thank you, Loz. By, what did we say, the end of December? Easy. So some personal reflection. I had an amazing time, and I'm really looking forward to TPT 2025 at the New York Showground. Now, Ryan hasn't committed to this yet, but if we just talk about it like it's a thing, then I'm sure we can manifest it in the world. It was really excellent venue, really excellent vibe, and then if you combine that with all the hype and the new people from the new edition, like, he basically put the event on at the worst possible time, right? In that weird twilight between where everybody knows there's going to be a new edition, but the new edition hadn't been properly announced, and it was kind of right? And it was still well attended, still 70 people. So imagine how that goes after 1 year into a new edition where it's almost at the height of its hype. It could be amazing. Like, it could, to the point where tickets might sell out and you have to work hard to make sure you guess them, right? So that'll be amazing. Love it. Now, obviously, a little bit disappointed in my own performance. 60th place is not great. It's a weird one, but I can't be mad because I had a lot of really close games. And weirdly, my least favourite game was the one that I won by a high margin. I think if I went to a tournament and I just smashed people left, right and centre and had loads of wins like that, I'd probably quit going to tournaments. Obviously, I'd love to win. I'd love to do better than I do, but I'd love to have close wins. So, I don't know. If this edition was continuing, I would sort of be reflecting and thinking about what it is that I do to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory quite so often. But, we're heading to a new edition and all bets are off. So, as we head into the new edition, I'll be sticking with Night Lords in the main, I think. They're the team that I've gelled the most with. But I will also be giving the Brood Brothers a run out, since that's the team people have decided for me to do for the Tell Mr. T.I. What to Paint Hobby Challenge. So I'll be doing my Brood Brothers for that. Obviously, that's what I'm going to get back to now once I finish recording this video. If you're on the Discord, you can keep up with everybody's progress on that challenge. It's going to be really, really cool. It is sweet to say, but I do think it's worth bearing in mind to say again that the point of all these things is the friendships and the community, right? Not winning, never winning. Were you at the event? Share your thoughts down below, especially if you're one of my opponents and I fundamentally misremembered details of our game, which is quite possible because I made no notes and it's now nearly a month later. My next event is the Not Kill Team Christmas event, and I'm hoping to be able to get tickets to the Warhammer World Weekender in January. Both of those things have been or will be linked on the Discord in the Meetups channel, so please do join the Discord. It's free, links in the description, and become a more fully enmeshed member of the Tales of Impulse community. I do want to thank everybody that as a subscriber, a regular commenter and engager on Discord. Really, really helps. And a big thank you as well to those channel members, those people that pay me a little bit of money every single month to help this thing keep going. Yeah, should be a hobby stream on Wednesday. Videos this week largely depends on what Games Workshop drops in the realm of Kill Team, but we will at least come up with something else during the week. Alright, see you guys, have a good one. Cheerio, cheerio, cheerio bye.